Checking levels. Hello, levels. Hello, levels. Hello, everybody. Good evening to nobody, because nobody's here yet, but good evening nonetheless. I'm waiting here for a few minutes. I want to check something. I was recently asked to do... I mean, whatever. I'll probably post this because maybe people will be curious. I was recently asked to make a Pikachu with a top hat and a monocle. And I did. I've never drawn a Pokemon character in my life, I don't think, or at least certainly not in recent years. So it was a first, not a first, but it was a little different for me. But I did it because it was requested, and I thought, oh, sure, why not? I'll draw a Pikachu. What do I care? So I did, and I made a little... I had read something. This was just coincidental, by the way. But I had read something about the fact that... And I mean, obviously, I know Pokemon as a series and the creatures and everything. I know they've changed over time. I know they've been around for quite a while. In fact, when did Pokemon come about? Actually, I'm kind of curious. Let me look at something, because I seem to remember when the craze started. So when is Pokemon actually from? Let me take a quick look on my phone here. Pokemon, according to Wikipedia, started when? 96. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I do remember it. I thought I remembered it starting up, but sometimes things are actually around for a while and then they kind of catch fire. You know, they become a trend. So I don't know if it was something from maybe the 60s that existed in a completely, you know, kind of like Nintendo used to be a playing card company and then became one of the biggest, you know, video game companies in the world. So I thought maybe Pokemon was that. But no, apparently 96. And like I said, I thought I remembered that starting up. But anyway, I had just coincidentally seen an article, I think over on Kotaku, or maybe it was Polygon someplace, that mentioned the fact that Pikachu, and I honestly, this little that I know is the most I know anything about Pokemon. I've only known about two creatures within the Pokemon stable, which was Jigglypuff, which I thought was the most hilariously stupid thing, that I actually love Jigglypuff. I don't actually remember what the creature does, but I remember at one point something about him, he sings, or if it's a he, I don't even know. It sings, and that puts the enemies to sleep or something. That's as much as pardon my yawning. That's as much as I knew about Pokemon, honestly, which is really nothing. And so I'd seen this article, and they talked about the fact, it was about something else. And in it, they mentioned the fact that Pikachu, which I think most people identify, and see here, this is what my negligence of it. I always just assumed that Pikachu was a singular creature, like a super-powered Pokemon, that just became the face of the franchise. I didn't realize that Pikachu are apparently a... What would they be called? They would be called a species, I think. Or a race. I don't really know what the differentiation would be with non-human creatures. But in any event, Pikachu are a series of creatures that are all apparently the same. So their Pikachus are not one thing. I just assumed there was one of these creatures called Pikachu, and he was the only one that was like that. So I always just thought that's how it was. But apparently that is not, at least that's not how it started. I don't know about now. In any event, Pikachu used to be fatter. He used to be a porky little thing. And then, or Pikachu were porky little things, I guess, whatever. And over time, it's slimmed down, or it's altered its body shape so that it's a more, not thin, but more shaped creature. News to me, but I thought, okay, well, I mean, everybody's going to draw Pikachu as it's currently shown, so I'll do a fat version. So I did a portly, porky Pikachu sitting with his hands on his belly with a top hat and a monocle. And I'll probably post a time lapse of it, because why not? So, anyway, it's a story that means nothing. Just, this is as much as I know about Pokemon. Because I just never was, never got in on it. Never really got the idea of it. I mean, I understood the idea. But the craze just never struck me. Maybe by then I was just too old for it. I mean, that would have been 18. Yeah, 18. So, yeah, I was kind of past the point of that particular craze appealing. Anyway. Just thought it was funny I drew Pikachu, which is the first Pokemon I can say I seriously drew in forever. If not the first Pokemon I've ever drawn. I mean, I'm really struggling to think if I may have drawn a Jigglypuff in jest. I don't know. Anyway, back to our skull. We are drawing a skull because I like drawing skulls. Skulls are fun. No, not just in general. There is an artist who does primarily skulls that I follow on Twitter, and he's really good at it. I don't do primarily skulls, but sometimes you get the right one and it's fun. So, here we are. For those who may have missed the last stream, basically what we're doing here is the X's symbolize gray or black. I'm really sorry about the yawning. I don't know why I'm yawning. I had coffee maybe, no, not even 3 hours ago. So I don't understand it. I'm not tired. I don't understand the science of yawning, everybody. I'm sorry. I just don't get it. But anyway, I apologize. I find it very uncouth to yawn on a stream. In any event, where are we here? Okay, so we'll redo. So what we'll do is, this is going to be a pretty simplified, God, I just like the look of this thing already. I got to admit, I like the look of it. I already like the look of it, which is rare. It's rare that I look at something of mine, I like it immediately, but I must admit I like this. Okay, so we already have a black layer. Let's black the layers in, because you really start to get a feel of things. You get some dimension when we get some blacks in there. So let's go ahead and get a nice thick pen. How thick is that? Well, we got to be careful here. So let's turn that off. Borders, with the thin lines, got to be cautious. As Steve Harvey would say on the Family Feud, if the family has two strikes, got to be careful. Because it's very easy to blow right through those lines. What is that? Oh, it's just a spot on the screen. And destroy them. So we want to be careful and create like a nice thick border here. Okay, I'm sorry, everybody. I've got like dust on the screen, and you can't see it, but it's bugging the crap out of me. So let me just very quickly, I'll get rid of those in a minute. Just do a quick wipe down. There we go. So those are not intentional. There we go. It's just bugging me because I can see it. I know you can't see it, which is to your benefit, but I can see it. It was driving me crazy. So had to get rid of that dust. Okay, so anyway, yeah, when you have thin lines, then you have to kind of be careful, because with a thick brush you'll overpower them like that, and you won't even notice until much later. Now, fortunately, these are all separated layers, so were that to happen, I could go in with an eraser and fix it, but that's just duplicating work for no actual good reason. So you make a thick barrier or a thick border like that, and that makes it a lot easier. Hold on. One of the pieces of dust that I tried to clean off came back. Let me just verify one quick thing for me. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, so... Oh, that was before I started using... What did I start doing? I started doing O for gray. Okay. No, that looks right. I just missed the one, I think. Oh, no, that's right. Okay. No, my whatever guide I was using actually worked, so that's a rarity too. Anyway, back to it. Sorry, just had to check. That's okay. I don't mind making mistakes where it's going to be black anyway, because it's going to be black anyway, so what's the difference? So yeah, so I'm going to do this with a thinner pen, and then I will come in here with kind of the big brush, the big round paintbrush, and I will just fill this stuff in. Hello, whoever joined. Unfortunately, I have not figured out how to have this thing say who joined, so I don't know who you are, but hello. Feel free to say hi or not. I understand. I've always found the term lurker to be kind of derogatory. When people say, oh, somebody's not talking, they're a lurker. It's like, man, I just don't have anything to say. I do that a lot. I watch streams and I don't say anything because, Also, a lot of the streams I watch, there's about 100 people on them, and so what's the point of saying something? Because the chances of you being heard, I guess, unless you pay or do something special, is pretty minuscule. That is not a problem here. If somebody says something, I'm pretty sure I'm going to see it. because I don't. I am actually. I think I have 10 people following or subscribed or whatever the term is, which is sort of amazing. I really didn't expect. I didn't expect anybody to. I thought maybe one or two, but just because almost every stream seems to get one or two. It's kind of hard not to get at least one. But anyway, nice to hit 10. Doesn't matter. I have no goal in mind. This stream was really started as something entirely different and has pretty much just become an art stream. I haven't played Jaws in quite a while, which was the original kind of joke of this. And I should have known that whenever I think I have a clever concept or joke, it's probably not going to go anywhere. It's the stupid stuff with me that lasts, not the what I'll term as a clever idea. That stuff never sticks. It's always strange things. Not strange things, but the unguided... Oh, okay, I don't want to use... I was going to use a military analogy, which is not... I was going to say the unguided missile that seems to hit the target, but that's... I don't know, I don't like that. It seems to be, as is typical, I think, for a lot of people, it's the sort of offshoot idea that ends up being the one that sticks. So I've had a couple people say, oh, I really like, I don't know why I'm shooting my voice way up like that, but I've had people say, oh, I like watching your art stream. I'm like, oh, well, that's great. I'm happy you like watching it. Go for it. Why is there an X there and there's nothing around it? Wait a minute. Did I miss something? Oh, I missed something. Oh, okay. Well, we got to fix that. Hold on. Yeah. I didn't even notice that. Let's see. Is that the right brush? I can get there. Hold on. Let me make this a 5 maybe and see if that might be equivalent. That's probably equivalent, isn't it? Let's see. Maybe a 6. I'm using 2 different brushes, oh wait. Yeah, that should be good. Where's my pen? There it is. No, I can see it. I can see that it's smaller. Let's try this one. That's it. Okay. I can't believe I missed that. Just do this really quick. Oh, hold on. I don't like where that line joined. Let's do that. We'll fragment that a little bit more. There we go. Did I miss any other ones like a moron? Are there any other X's that are orphaned? Not the jaw one. That one's okay, but nothing else, right? Here I am talking about how people like my stream and I can't even get my stuff together on it. What else is new? Should I be surprised? I guess I shouldn't be. Am I able to speak English? No, I'm not. Can't even control my mouth muscles. How is anybody even watching this thing? I don't know. But that's okay. So, my wife likes licorice. She likes black licorice, which I cannot stand. I think black licorice is some of the most disgusting stuff in the world. Oh, you know what? I didn't put... I guess it doesn't matter because they're all like that, so it's fine. Can't stand black licorice. I just... Oh. I actually tried some because she got a assortment of red and black. She got... So basically, it's several different... It's like a sampler. So... There's black licorice, red licorice, and some different flavors. Ones that were supposedly sour, but they are not sour. One batch is sort of sour, but sour in the way that, for anybody who likes sour candy, and I really don't, and the fact that I would eat these easily means it's not sour. That's how I knew it wasn't sour. But sour candies generally, whether it's hard or soft, well, it doesn't matter. Sour candies generally... That's interesting. I didn't put a... Yes, I did. Okay, I got it. Never mind. Sorry. Interesting. Nah, leave it. Okay. So, sour candies usually start off very strong, as anybody who eats sour candy will know. And then depending on what kind of candy it is, as the coating or whatever it is comes off, generally there is a reduction in sourness. So it kind of ramps down. Doesn't go away, ramps down a bit. Right? So, as you get to the last bit of that sour coating, usually it's like a sugar or some kind of granular sourness thing, usually. At that point, it becomes, more of a sugary candy than it does a sour one. There's still a little bit of sourness to it, but it's definitely weakened. And these taste like that off the bat, where it's a very low level sourness to the point where, like I said, I was eating them because I don't like sour very much. I mean, once in a while, it's kind of like the atomic fireball candies if you've ever had those. I don't really like those, but once in a while, it's something good. Once in a while, I like eating an atomic fireball. I generally stick with the smaller ones because I don't like a lot of heat. So the little ones tend to lose their heat faster. So the fact that I ate these licorice means they're really not that hot at all. Or sour. Sorry, not hot. Sour. The black ones, I mean, I tried one because my wife ate it, and it was it's called a half and half, so it's half red, half black. Which, makes sense as a concept. Of course you would mix them. And she said, it kind of tastes like cherry cola. And I said, okay, well, I like cherry cola. So I said, I'll try it. And it was so... The black part, the black licorice, was so bad I spit it out. And I almost never spit out, even stuff I don't generally like candy-wise. I will usually just eat it and eat something else as kind of a palate cleanser. I generally don't, but black licorice is a special exception. Oh, man, was it bad. I mean, I spit it out like it was poison. Because as far as my taste buds were concerned, it was. I don't get black licorice. Don't get it. Don't get it. My wife loves it. But, and this is where I want to kind of put everything in its proper perspective. I also don't think I like licorice. And I'll explain. So, I love Twizzlers. Right? Most people that I know don't like Twizzlers. They say it's basically like eating sweet plastic or rubber. And I agree, it is. But I like it. And what I've realized, moving to California, and, when I lived in New York, I didn't eat a lot of Mexican food. Not because it wasn't around, but because there was way more pizza and Italian food, and that's what I like, so I ate more of that. Or what I will loosely term Chinese food, because I came to realize later on that most places that are quote-unquote Chinese food are in fact not run by Chinese owners. In many cases, they are Korean owners. And I'm not saying that makes there anything bad. In fact, the opposite. I love that food, but I've had people correct me and say, yeah, that's not really Chinese food. Which I have no reason to doubt that. I've come to realize I don't care about authenticity, and I will explain this. This will come back to licorice. So, moving to California, there's far more what would be termed authentic Mexican food. Mexican food made, at least to some degree, similar to or aiming to emulate the flavors of Mexico, traditional Mexican cooking. And there's many other things, but you find a lot of Mexican, I mean, within, I would say, a 10-mile radius of our home. Let me think about this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm just thinking of names of restaurants. There's probably ones I don't even know. There's at least 10 that are within 10 miles of our house. And they may even be closer. And there probably are more because since I don't eat a lot of Mexican food, even here, there are probably places I haven't heard of. Whether they're any good or not is besides the point. There's a lot of them. And I'm not counting food trucks, of which there are also many, and many are Mexican. Or, I mean, they appear to be Mexican. I know, and they say Mexican. They say Mexican. I mean, words in Spanish I don't speak, but the word Mexican is in there. And there are others. There are, Korean and Vietnamese. I know there's a food truck. Lots of food trucks out here. Way more than I was used to in New York. Again, just different. But in any event, my wife really likes actual Mexican food. The correct stuff. The stuff that's made with authenticity in mind. Either by emulating the flavor or actually making it in a traditional style. My wife likes that stuff. And what I realized is I don't. What I like is Americanized Mexican. So, not Taco Bell. That's junk food. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like junk food, but I'm not talking about that far down. But there's a place called Rubio's that I think it's a national chain, so I think it's all over the place. But anyway, it's called Rubio's Coastal Grill. That is my version of eating Mexican food. And anybody who actually enjoys authentic Mexican food would laugh at that and say, yeah, that's not Mexican food. That's an American version. The same way that I would look at Olive Garden and say that's not really Italian food. That's Americanized Italian food, right? And somebody from Italy, or who understood authentic Italian cooking, or at least authentic's a weird word. I mean, yeah, I actually don't really like using that word, but cooking that is either using the ingredients and techniques of the place where it originates from, or is aiming to, or is actually of that place. So anybody who likes, as my wife does, authentic Mexican food, I just use authentic when I say I don't like to, but the more pure version, or the more not honest version of the food, where it is in fact trying to use techniques, ingredients, cooking styles of the place it originates from. For me, calling Rubio's Mexican, and she likes Rubio's too, so it's not like she doesn't like the food, she does too, but it's like a joke. And that same thing extends to licorice. See, I told you I'd get back to it. Because Twizzlers are not licorice. I don't know what they are, but they're not licorice. So she got me the red licorice, some red licorice samples, and I ate them. And the three that came were, one was called Australian Red, which I don't know if it's just the shape of it, or because it's ridged. It's like cylinders, thick cylinders of licorice that have ridges, sort of like rigatoni does, as opposed to ziti in terms of ridges versus smooth, but those are both cylindrical pastas. And so I ate the Australian Red and went, okay, yeah, it's all right. And then I ate what are called strawberry pillows, and I went, oh yeah, those are good too, but I can't detect a difference. And I'm sure there is one. And then she also got me what are they called? Like string, like red vines, lacy kind of, like shoelace kind of. And those, I always struggle with lacy or stringy licorice, because I've had it before. That's what red vines are. Because I just think of spaghetti, and I expect a spaghetti taste, and instead it's red licorice. It's odd. I cannot wrap my brain around that tactile mismatch. So, but what I've come to realize is I don't think I actually like licorice. I think I like Twizzlers. In the same way that I don't like Mexican food, I like Rubio's. I don't like licorice, I like Twizzlers. And I'm not going to call Twizzlers licorice, because I think people who, I was also having this discussion with some individuals in Discord who are not from the United States. And I mentioned that I like Hershey's chocolate, and the reaction to that was visceral, to the point where these people thought I was kidding. And I said, no, I like Hershey's chocolate, and the basically that's not real chocolate was the distillation of what they were saying, but they were getting at the fact that, yeah, that's garbage chocolate. And I'm not saying it isn't. It probably is. If you live in a country where you have, is it chocolatiers might be the word? People who make chocolate that really pour their heart and soul into it, then I'm sure Hershey's kind of mass-produced chocolate is probably, the equivalent of eating McDonald's when you could have a gourmet burger. Yeah, I get it. I'm not disagreeing. I also like it. And that's what I've come to realize, is that I don't actually like red licorice. I like Twizzlers. Red licorice I could take or leave. But I really like Twizzlers. And it is sugar plastic. Or I call it sugar rubber because of the chewiness. Plastic generally isn't as chewy as Twizzlers are, but it's rubbery sugar. And I understand that. So, but she also, they gave her a sample of some gourmet pretzels, which are like a cinnamon butter pretzel, hard pretzel. Those I liked. Those I liked a lot. So that is probably something, these people make different types of pretzels too, and I will probably try some of those, because I did like quite a bit the cinnamon brown sugar, maybe cinnamon brown sugar, cinnamon sugar butter or something like that. Pretzels, they were good. Because hard pretzels I generally like, but I don't love them the way I love soft pretzels. Usually, soft pretzels will always win. Because one thing that you will, if you ever get to go to New York City, if you haven't already, one thing you must do is get a pretzel from a street vendor, because the pretzels are just outstanding. And they're just not like that anywhere else in the world. It's the same thing with bagels in New York. No matter how you try to copy them, nobody does them as well. Nobody does them the same. I say this purely as an opinion, but also as a fact. It's just the way it is. You will never, ever, ever equal the majesty of a New York bagel. I don't care what you do. It's not going to happen. Feel free to try. And no matter whether you're successful or not, you will be a failure. Because New York bagels are the best in the world. The same way that New York pizza is the best in the world. Of what it is, which is American pizza. I'm not going to be completely nuts and compare it to Italian pizza, because it's not the same. Having eaten Italian pizza, which is delicious in a very different way. The same way that I have yet to have an arancini, which is essentially a cheese-filled rice ball, or at least it was where we got it, in the United States, that is anywhere near the arancini I had in Rome, which still is a food that was so good that I can taste it still. I can very vividly remember it where in Rome, going down to the place, which was right near our hotel, and getting a bag of arancini and just eating those as a meal. Oh, man. Oh, yeah. I don't think I'll ever get back to the motherland again in my life. I really don't. I don't think I'll ever get back to Italy. I think my fear of flying is just too bad now. I didn't have it as badly then. And I just think I've come to realize that it's never going to happen. Which is fine. I got to go once. I'm not going to complain. There are people who never get to travel outside the town they're born in their entire lives. So this is not really a complaint. It's just an acknowledgement of the way it is. Because I could drug myself up, but I don't think so. I have to drug myself up to get to New York, and that's a 6-hour flight. Italy is way longer than that. And I just don't think so. I just don't think so. And flying over water now is to me is just, no, I don't think I can tolerate it. I think it's so bad. Just that I don't think I could even buy the tickets without fear. So, again, whatever. I got to go. I took pictures. I very clearly remember it. And it was a beautiful experience at a point in my life where I was in a good place to experience something like that. And if I never get to see it again, it's okay. It's kind of like what Egg Shen said about China. It's in the heart, Jack. Wherever I go, she's with me. So I got to see some of the most beautiful things in the world you could ever expect to see. The Colosseum, which was absolutely the highlight of the trip. Florence, which the word magical is often overused, and incorrectly so. Florence was a magical city to be in. I mean, Florence at night, Venice at night, I do not have the verbal capacity to express the beauty of what that was. It's just impossible. It was so great. And it was just, everything was great about that trip. Don't get me wrong, there were some rough moments. Trying to break in a pair of shoes by walking about 10 miles was not the smartest move I ever made, but also the best pair of shoes I've ever owned in my life. Sneakers, really. I shouldn't call them shoes because that'll make it sound like they're, nice shoes. The best sneakers I ever had in my entire life, and so far, I'll say so far, I got in Italy. Oh, man, those shoes were, sorry, I didn't mean to scream into the mic, but those shoes were I wore those shoes far past the point where I should have, because I loved them so much. They were such great shoes. They really were. They were great shoes, man. They were remarkable. And that too, for whatever reason, I remember getting those shoes so clearly. I remember going to that store and seeing those shoes, and um, they were they were an offshoot of Doc Martens, which, odd to have that. Well, maybe not odd, because pardon me, sorry. Doc Marten I've always attributed as, I believe Doc Martens are English, right? I think they are. I think they're English. Anyway, that's how I've always attributed them, as like a British shoe brand. So we went into this shoe store and they had this, they were called Airwear, and they were shoes that had Velcro fasteners or laces or whatever you want to call it. And I mean, they were just such wonderful shoes. And had I had any clue of the fact that they would be difficult to get, I would have bought a dozen pairs just to have them forever, to be able to wear them, because they lasted so long. And I've looked, and I think I think they were a temporary thing, and I don't think the Airwear brand exists the way it did anymore even. So it was just a unique thing. Like so many things in that trip, something that just can't be replicated. So I'll probably never have sneakers as great as those again. Also not a complaint, because again, I got to wear them. They were great shoes. Sneakers. Sorry, I'm just being specific because I know some people, the word shoe for some people means something different than sneakers for a certain group of people. So I will say, or tennis shoes, if you will. Not that I've ever played tennis, but that may give you a better idea. So, yeah. Yeah, Italy was great. It was. And that trip, well, and again, this is one of these things where you just sit here and go, boy, the world is so different now. We took that trip, I believe, in February of 2001. Flying on an airplane in February 2001 is very different than flying today, obviously. So, yeah, there's lots of things about that trip that can never possibly be replicated. I mean, all the big sites and everything are still there, I'm sure. I'm pretty sure the Colosseum and the Duomo and the Piazza di... or St. Mark's Plaza. I'm sure all that stuff is still there. Piazza di San... What would it be? San Marco, I guess. Oh, yeah, it would have to be, wouldn't it? But that was great. And there was an art installation when we were there in Venice. So they had all these LCD screens up in the plaza. It was amazing. So at night you got these really wild... It was basically like fire and ice. Something along those lines. I have photos of them somewhere. Not somewhere, I have them. But of those screens, again, something that, because there was some kind of art festival. Now, they may have that art festival every year. I don't know. I haven't kept track or anything like that. But still, it's just one of those things where there was a confluence of certain events. I think most of us have this probably. Most of us have some trip that's magical in your mind for some reason. I have a couple different ones that were... And sometimes it's mundane stuff, too. It's stuff that isn't as grandiose as going and seeing the Colosseum, or going into the Vatican, that type of thing, or seeing the Sistine Chapel, which unfortunately we didn't get to see because it was closed. But I got to see the David up close. And honestly, if you're giving me a choice between seeing Michelangelo's sculpture and his paintings, I'll take his sculpture. Michelangelo was great, and he was a maniac, which I can very much relate to. Destroyed work he didn't like. Boy, am I on board with that. Not as much in the digital era, but certainly when I was doing things physically, if it didn't work out, you were never going to see it. But what was I going with that? Oh, yeah. So there are trips that are mundane, too, for simple reasons. We took a trip, I can't remember if it was to Florida or if it was to probably North Carolina, maybe? I don't actually remember. Because we went to Florida far more than the Carolinas, but this trip seems exceptional, and I think it's because it was the Carolinas and not Florida, because it wouldn't be as... I wouldn't remember it the same way. I would remember... I got very tired of Florida as a kid. We went a lot, because we had family down there, and then we'd go to Disney here and there. I mean, Disney was never cheap, but it was certainly cheaper then. But boy, I just got very sick of Florida. Just not... And not for the kind of stereotypical American reasons where you're like, Florida's full of lots of dumb people. No, it's not that. It's just I went a lot. And Florida's hot and it's humid, which I don't like. And you're not going to go so many places in Florida. Florida's not, it's not like there's a lot of stuff going on down there outside of Disney and the Keys and stuff like that. I'm not saying there's nothing, but for a child, there's not as many things. As an adult, you would find different things to do. But in any event, we went somewhere, and wherever this place was, my parents got I think it was a timeshare or condo or whatever it was for a week on a golf course. And the condo, I think it had to be somebody they knew, I think, because it was a really nice place, and my parents were never rich or anything, so it just seemed, I mean, don't get me wrong, it could have been they decided to just spend big on a trip. It's possible. I don't know. I'd have to find out if my mom even remembers. Any event, this place was really nice, and it had an intercom system that also was a stereo, which that was a pretty wild concept for me as a kid. I was like, ooh, this is neat. They've got it's a multi-room intercom that's also able to play tapes or CDs. So it had these big wall, installation, or a central one, not, so you would adjust the volume at each of the intercoms, then it tied into a central stereo system, which for me as a kid, that was ultra high tech type stuff. So I remember that when I don't remember what age I was, but I mean, I had to be teens. I was old enough that I was into Soundgarden. Well, no, actually, I shouldn't say that. The trip got me into Soundgarden, because at that time, I think I'd heard, what's their first album? Ultra Mega OK. And then I'd heard a little bit of Super Unknown, but I hadn't really listened to it. But I was in a band at that point. The other guys in the band wanted to play Soundgarden songs, and I wanted to stay in the band at that point. So this was, I got kicked out not too long because I wasn't really any good. As a drummer, I was okay, but there were far better drummers around, so I no ill will. They were absolutely right to kick me out because there were far more talented people around that they could find. But in any event, one of the things, they wanted to play Nirvana songs, they wanted to do covers of Soundgarden songs. So I listened to Soundgarden, but I was really listening to try to figure out if I could emulate the drumming, which was a fool's errand at best, because Matt Cameron is a sensationally good drummer, and there was no way I was ever going to be able to get anywhere near his level of talent. So that was a fool's, I mean, whatever description you want of chasing an impossible dream, that was it. I was never going to be able to do a Soundgarden song that had any level of complexity outside of keeping a steady beat. That's the one thing I could do, keep a steady beat. But getting creative, being able to play off time with the actual song, as Matt Cameron has done multiple times in multiple bands, Black Hole Sun being a good example, that was never going to happen. I mean, it was never going to happen. I was never going to be that good. But anyway, at this point, I was still under the delusion that I would be able to, try to do some of this stuff. So again, I'd listened to, they wanted to do like Spoon Man, which I don't even, I don't think we ever ended up even trying that one. And then, what was the other song they wanted to do off Super Unknown? Not Black Hole Sun. I mean, it was very clear I was never going to be able to hit Black Hole Sun. What was the other song? I don't remember. It was later in the album, but anyway, it doesn't matter. I don't ever remember song titles all that well. I mean, even on albums I've listened to a million times, I very often cannot remember song titles. So that doesn't mean I don't like the album. In fact, I love Super Unknown now. But I couldn't tell you the song titles. I don't remember. Anyway, we're in this place, this fantastic condo, which is, again, super high tech for my age and what I was used to, in this intercom system, right, with the stereo that connected to it. And I brought Super Unknown, and Down on the Upside had come out relatively recently. I don't think it had just come out, but it was pretty recent. There's two big things about this particular trip, which again is what I mean about the mundane trips sometimes are just as powerful. So I had gotten Down the Upside, brought that with me, and I had Super Unknown as well. So during one day, I remember I had a bunch of time to kill. There were two particular days that I had this time to kill and nothing really going on. And so on the one day, I put both Super Unknown and Down on the Upside onto this intercom system with nobody else there, and I cranked everything up in every room, and I had basically this album cranked at equal levels throughout this condo in every room. So I literally would just kind of walk through the rooms, and I would just sit there and listen to this album and really listen to it. Unlike most times, like I said, before I was listening to the album to try to figure out if I'd be able to play the song. So I wasn't really listening and appreciating the album. I was just listening to see if I could emulate the drumming. And this was really when I sat down, and not really sat down because I was wandering around, because I was kind of bewildered by it. I was so blown away by the album that I was really kind of wandering. But the thing is, with the volume equal in each room, it was this really weird but great kind of audio experience. I don't really know how to quantify it properly. But and now you could do it very easily. If you had Sonos speakers in every room, or, you know, whatever speaker you use, it would be easy to do. But at that time, this was a wild thing. You know, you didn't go to or I didn't. I didn't go to a lot of houses where they had speakers wired in every room at equal levels where you could throw an album on and hear it in the exact, or, you know, nearly same levels every room. So it was this atmospheric sound that was following me. So I listened to Super Unknown, again, really listened to it for the first time and fell in love with it. And then I listened to Down on the Upside right afterwards, and might have even liked that one better. I don't know which album I'd say I like better even today. It depends on the mood I'm in, which one I like better. So that was the one day, you know, where I listened to those two albums, and I think I listened to them both probably 3 times before anybody came back. Because like I said, I had a chunk of time. Because I think it was that my parents went golfing, and I have no interest in golf. So I just kind of hung around and listened to those albums, which was awesome. I mean, I can remember that too. I can remember the look of those intercoms, putting the thing on, listening to it, wandering around was great. And then the next, or the night after, I don't remember what, we spent the whole day doing something. I don't even remember what. This is, you see where the memory parts that I'm actually pulling out, and they have nothing to do with the trip, really. But anyway, I had brought along a movie I hadn't seen before, but had heard good things about, called Ghost in the Shell. And I had never seen it. And I put that thing on the TV and watched it. And I was amazed. I mean, just amazed by it. And I remember watching that on this TV too. I mean, it was a VHS, so it wasn't a really, you know, it was a VHS copy. It wasn't anything really special. But the visuals and the subject matter and just the whole look of the thing was so incredible. Second, really, only to Akira. That's the only animated movie I think I can honestly say I like better than Ghost in the Shell is Akira. Akira is still number one. It's always going to be number one. Nothing will ever defeat it that'll ever exist, because it's so tied into kind of my discovery of art and what animation could be and everything. It was such a neat discovery when I found Akira. But Ghost in the Shell's right up there. I mean, it really is in terms of quality and meaning and everything to me. But that's what I mean about that's a very straightforward, mundane trip. It was basically, the trip itself was not to any place particularly scenic or special in itself, the trip, but I have those memories from it. So it doesn't have to be going to Italy or something like that to be a great trip. If you're around the right people or you have the right experiences, it really doesn't matter if it's your backyard. Honestly, it doesn't. So, yeah. Italy and either Florida or North Carolina, whichever. 2 of the most memorable experiences in terms of trips. Could not be more different in their fundamental, you know, vacation architecture. One was clearly going to be a trip to a place that was going to deliver things, which was Italy, of course, that we knew that we were aiming for certain experiences and we were going to have them, or try to anyway. Never say it for sure, but try to. And the other one was just a short family getaway. It may not have even have been a week. It might have been, you know, it might have been 4 or 5 days. I don't really remember. And yet both have not equal weight. Italy is still the better of the two. If I had to jettison one or the other, I would jettison the Soundgarden trip, because I still would have found Soundgarden. But Maybe not in quite the same way. I would have kept Italy. But yeah, trips are weird. Not memory. Experience and what we experience and what we take out of it is such a strange thing sometimes, where it's really kind of impossible. You think a trip is going to be nothing and it ends up being something, or vice versa. A trip you think is going to be amazing and it turns out to be a total dud. I've had those too, but yeah, it's strange. It's strange what works different ways for us. The mystery of how our brains and our experiences and our interactions with the world will form as both in the moment and over time. I mean, if I'd really thought however many years ago that trip was, the Soundgarden trip, that I'd be thinking about it 20 something years later as I'm doing an art stream. I mean, not that Twitch or streaming this way even existed at that time. It wasn't like now. But would I have really thought? I would have thought, oh, it was a great trip, but am I really going to remember it? Probably not. There will be other things. But I remember it. And not because I didn't have other trips that on paper sound like they should be far more memorable, but it was the experience of that moment. And it was tied into you could call it an artistic experience. I mean, music is art, just like everything else. So it's strange. Like I said, it's very hard to predict what will resonate in different ways. So, yeah. And on that note, I'm just going to wrap up here. So I've been doing this for a while and jabbering on for quite a bit. So I think what we'll do here is, let's see. Let's try to get this done here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to thicken this up a bit. Yeah, that's better. Don't necessarily need the paintbrush, but I need a little bit thicker than that other brush for this. Get these black levels in so that we can tidy this up and we can have all the big black areas done for this. Yeah, really, how did I even get on the topic of trips? I don't even remember. I was talking about food. I was talking about licorice, which led to food, which led to Italy. Somewhat predictably, for me anyway. It'll come back to food in Italy somehow. Always does. Alright, so let's get these blocked in. Then I can bring out the big brush. And we can wrap this particular session up. I may stream again on Thursday. I haven't been just because I've had stuff going on. Not for any particular reason. Not because I'm sick of streaming or anything like that. It just hasn't worked out the last couple times. We'll see. Because I think this Thursday I might have a few things happening too. Whatever, I'm trying to make sure I stream once a week. Should make it Etsy. You know what? That's not a bad idea. Actually, my Threadless thing has stickers. So, I could probably do it there. Actually, I think, yeah, everything I put on Threadless has a sticker component. So all this stuff will eventually be stickers. It just might not be on Etsy. But, I'm pretty sure everything that's in my Threadless shop you can get as a sticker. I'm pretty sure. I will double check that, but I'm almost sure that I checked the box that says make it into everything except for, like not shirts, like housewares. I just don't think my designs are necessarily made for dish towels. I mean, I guess they could be. I really don't care, but, or maybe it's not dish towels, but like embroidered stuff. I don't remember. There's some segment of the Threadless stuff where I think, okay, this is not fitting for what I do. But I don't exactly remember what it is. But I do know stickers are there. I can look and see what there is for Etsy too. The other thing is, man, you gotta have shops all over the place. And it's just like, geez, how many shops I gotta have? How many shops have I gotta open up? If I was doing a lot of business, it'd be one thing. That'd be a lot different. And I would say, yeah, you're right, I should. But so far, there really hasn't been all that much. So if sales suddenly start skyrocketing, then I will consider it. And we'll see. All right. And I think this will probably be the end of this. Let's fill that in. Let's see. We got all our black levels. Everything black filled in? Looks like. Yeah, well, look, I've done that a million times. Believe me when I tell you. That's easy. Etsy rabbit hole is simple. Yeah, no, I understand that. Oh, thing just now it drops out right at the end of the stream. Unbelievable. This thing's been solid the whole time. It's almost like it's a sign. It's like at 45 minutes or so, the thing's like, nope, stop. It's crazy. Jeez, come on. There. Come on. At least I can wrap up with this on the screen. So you'll see it in a second. Come on. There we go. All right, there we are. So that's where we'll end this particular stream for this fine Tuesday evening. I'm assuming you can see. Yeah, you can see it. Okay, there it is. Yeah, so we got the black levels in, and then we'll start figuring out what we're going to do for the others. We'll start with a gray tone, but we'll probably do some color stuff too. And we'll do little lines. We'll do some lines, see if they fit. I don't know. I may not do too many detail lines in this. I haven't figured that out yet. I haven't made a decision on that yet. But regardless, I like where this is going. And since it's all different layers, even if I screw it up, it's fixable. So I am not going to worry about it too much. But so far, I'm liking this. I'm liking this early on, which is rare. So anyway, I think I'm going to wrap it up for this evening. So let's go into this. And thanks for stopping by and watching and listening to me babble on about Soundgarden and Italy and whatever else I was talking about, which I can't even remember anymore. And yeah, I may do this again on Thursday. We'll see. I just don't know yet. Just depends what happens during the week. But trying to make sure I do it once a week anyway. Whatever. It'll be on Twitter or Discord or wherever I post things. But that will wrap it up for this evening. So whether it is Tuesday morning, afternoon, evening, deep late into the evening, dead middle of the night, whatever, or if it's Monday or if it's Wednesday or whatever it is, you're on the moon. Thanks for stopping by. Hope you have a wonderful rest of insert whatever it is for you here. And we'll talk to you again on the next stream, and we'll keep going on our skull and see where we end up. All right. Have a good rest of your insert thing here. Bye, everybody.